as they're getting lectured for those tests and quizzes. Yes, ma'am.
I think the universities are changing.
And they are.
Because the universities, you have lecture.
Yeah.
And then they put you in a project group and say, apply your lecture.
They
So
are.
I don't think, my dad taught for 40 years, and there's a significant shift at the university level. So that's changing. Because
It is.
what's happening is the students can graduate from college, and they say, well, you don't know how to work in a team. And so the universities had to do something about it, because lower education was a little bit more about the regurgitation. And then they said, well, we put them in the workforce, they don't know what to do. So the universities started to switch and say, you need to start working in a group environment, solving problems together, and then presenting, and figuring out that everybody did their part. And it seems to be trickling down.
Actually, I think it's forcing up.
It's forcing.
I think it's coming up from, it's bubbling from the bottom. And so that's forcing the universities to think differently about how they do it. It's a little different animal because at the university level, the professors like to think they are the fountain of knowledge. And so it's a little more challenging to change. But it is changing. You're absolutely right. And to the good, because that experience of that richness of learning is happening there as well. Yes, ma'am.
Actually, the universities have been doing that for quite a while.
Yes, they have.
Some of the universities.
Yes, they have.
But to the point you made earlier, and I've heard this before, and I sure hope it's not true, would you say that public schools are teaching to test as opposed to teaching?
If they're teaching to the test, they're not doing a very good job of it.
Well, there are a number of schools that aren't. There are a number of schools that are. In the Rio Rancho Public Schools, which I'm not a part of, we've started our own school district. But we were ahead of national averages on all of our ACT scores in every area at the high school level. I'm proud to say that only in our fourth year the ASQ Academy is averaging higher than they are in all those areas. But there are schools that are doing it well. But my own personal philosophy in that is a great question. If the test is good, what's wrong with that? As long as you're doing other learning experiences too, right? If the test is good, I mean, that's a big question, whether the test is good or not. But if the test is good, teaching to that test, because listen, if I'm going to get a certification in AV systems, okay? Don't they have you test to make sure that you're professional enough to get that certification in that industry area?
Well, yeah, like in medicine, you have to.
Don't they teach to that test? Don't they tell you what that's going to be on that test for you to be able to know and learn and convince them that they know? So keeping the secret what the test is not... Yeah. So I don't believe in keeping secret of what's in the test.
No, I'm not suggesting keeping it secret, but just if that is all the teacher's looking at is the test, that
Right.
leaves little room for creativity and being able to adapt to, and I'm assuming, I'm not an educator, but I'm assuming that not all students learn the same. They learn
Right.
So
Right.
taking that into account.
But at the tell me what your high school experience was. What was the most of the ways that you learned lessons?
I really don't remember. I know I was not. No, I was in the classes with all the boys because I took all the physics and the chemistry
Right,
and everything.
right.
So that I do remember.
Right.
Mine was one of competition.
Nice.
You know, wanting to do it because I wanted to be.
Oh, you wanted to compete.
I
Yeah,
wanted to be
absolutely.
number one.
Right.
So however that drove me to learn, I don't know, I learned.
The statistics show that the majority of the learning experiences in traditional historic public school settings was this teacher-focused, listen to what I say, trust it's okay, regurgitate what you heard me say, I'll evaluate how well you've done that, and then we'll move on to the next topic, preparing for that quiz, preparing for that chapter test, preparing for that final exam. Now, we may have had in our scattered experience, I remember my physics teacher, that we went out to the football field and dropped things off the tower and collected data, but that was rare. That was very unique and very rare. So much so at the age of 55, I remember it. Right? It's what I believe it's those learning experiences that public school is not in a prevalent way impacting our children enough. So we believe we just need to change that. Now, it's not easy. It's much easier for me to lecture, take your notes, quiz, multiple choice. I grade it in 10 minutes. We're done. We turn the page. I taught it. Why don't they know? I taught it. All those things we think that's happening in public schools, it's happening. I came out of the business world saying I didn't want my kids asking the question, where would I ever use that algebra lesson? I wanted them living it. I wanted them knowing why. Not just me telling them why, but living it. Great questions. This is a great group. Bobby, have I talked a lot? Enough? Again, we'd love to have you as a partner. So I've got some flyers here, more information on our 2 career pathways. If you're willing to have some bedtime reading, you can take those with you. I've got business cards that I'd love for you to take if you're wishing. And again, if there are no other questions, I really thank you for the time tonight. Thank you for having me.